Preparing the frontal view. Okay, for the frontal view, we are first going to import the sketch for the character Brad. You can find it in the project files folder you downloaded from the Getting the Project Files lesson. Inside the character design sketches, you will find the Brad frontal view image. I will just drag that into Illustrator. Let me put it in the correct position. Now I will rename the layer Sketch and set this image with 20% opacity from the transparency panel. Okay, now one last thing, lock this layer. That way we won't mess with it accidentally. Okay, now it's time to start tracing the head and neck. We will do that in the next lesson. Creating the head and neck. Okay, we have the sketch ready to make our lives easier and be able to create our character. We won't add the face here, only the head with no face and the neck. I will be using the pencil tool and my Wacom in tools. If you don't have a tablet, use the mouse with the pen tool, okay? Now first, I will create a new layer for the head. I will name it Head and make it blue. And the preferences for the pencil will be no fill, black stroke, and 2 points for the width. So I'm drawing the face using the overshoot technique. One line after the other. And you know what? I don't see the image clearly, so I'm going to increase the opacity. Unlock the sketch layer and Alt-click to select its contents. And set the opacity to, how about 50% in the transparency panel? I think that looks better. I lock the sketch again so I don't mess with it. This is important, lock it. And then select the head layer. This is important also. Now I can continue. This is being played in fast forward, just the rest of the hair, very good. That's the head. Now let's select all and change the width profile to variable. Now select all and expand the path. Now simplify by going to Object, Path, Simplify, and put it at 97%. Okay. Wait. This is very important. You need to simplify the path because if you don't, when you import the character into another software, it's going to be insanely heavy. And the animation software like After Effects or maybe Anime Studio won't be able to open it. Okay, so just make sure you do this. Good. And now I'm ready to do some cleaning. I press Ctrl A to select all, then Ctrl Alt X to make it live paint, and click on Expand. And once it's expanded, I can use the white arrow tool to clean it up. Again, fast forward for this part. The good thing about working with a character that doesn't have a lot of detail is that they are faster to clean up. Okay, there you go. Now, we have the color palette already here. And again, if you don't know how to create color palettes or other basic functionalities in Illustrator, like the ones I'm using, you can always refer to our other course, Adobe Illustrator Essentials for Character Design. Okay, so we have the color palette, and I'm ready to paint. Ctrl A to select all and make live paint, pressing Ctrl Alt X. Now, paint it with the paint bucket tool. I press K to select it. And yep, much better. So, that's the head. Now that I like the color of the skin and the hair, I will change the outline colors of the black to a darker tone for the skin and hair. For that, I need to expand to live paint again into paths. And then I can change the color of the outlines. I add a darker version for the color of the skin and the yellow and change it. This can be a bit tedious, but is very easy to do. And for me, it's worth it. You can leave it black, but I just like a darker tone of the same color. There. One more thing to finish off the head. It needs a neck. I will hide the group with all the paths for the head and create a circle with no stroke with the color of the skin in that same layer. This needs to be a perfect circle and match the circle for the joint of the neck and head. 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 Now I show the head group again, but I need the circle to be below the head. Just reorder those in the layers panel. Make any adjustments if you need, and to judge this job better, I need to hide the sketch. There, that's it for the head. Now let's move into the next lesson in which we will see how to do the torso and hips. See you there. Creating the upper torso. Okay, so we have the head already created. Now we will go ahead and create the upper torso. For that, I will create a new layer called torso and lock the head layer so we don't mess with it. And change the color to medium blue. Now, I'm ready to start drawing. Wait, not yet. I pick the pencil tool and set no fill, black stroke, and 2 points. Now I'm ready. I will basically trace overshooting the lines for the overshoot technique. And after all the lines are done, I want you to notice something. This layer is the upper torso, and right now it doesn't connect too well with the arms. That's because we will add the joints after we complete this drawing. And also notice the same going on with the neck and the lower part. We will add circle shapes for all those joints. Now, before I move on, I want to change the color of the lines. Let me make them with variable width. There, and let's change the color of the lines to a darker tone of the color. To change the color of the outline from the palette, just click on the stroke color and you can change it. This is the stroke color, okay? And this is the fill color. We want to change the stroke color. So now let's change them. For example, the neck will be a darker skin color. The shirt, a darker shirt color, and so on. There. Let's clean it up now, shall we? Ctrl A to select all. Object menu, expand appearance. And then object menu, path, simplify. Then Ctrl Alt X for live paint and expand. And clean the lines with the white arrow tool in fast forward. Oh, and be careful because you will sometimes get to this part. In here, deleting the intersection is not a good idea. Let me undo and delete the remaining part. What we need is to color it. I will just pick the paint bucket tool, then Alt click on the color of the outline of the shirt to pick that color, and then just click on the intersection. It tells me that it needs to make it live paint. It's okay. And there you go. And there you go. And there you go. And then we find the situation again. So I will do just the same. Now let me fast forward until I got everything. And there we go. Now, make it live paint again so I can paint it with the bucket tool and whoops. Oh, let me cancel that. Okay, that happened because we already have it on live paint when I was dealing with the intersections, remember? So I should be able to paint it with no problem. Yeah, it's live paint. The upper torso is almost ready. Let's add the joints. Let me hide all and just show the sketch. For the circle connecting with the neck, I can just duplicate the circle of the head. Let's unlock the head and just drag the circle to the new item icon, and that makes a duplicate. I just drag that duplicate to the torso layer. Whoops, you know what? I forgot. You need to show all layers to be able to move objects between layers. So, show all and drag it to the torso layer. There. Now I just reordered the layers, putting the upper torso below the head. Let me hide the sketch, and there you go. Actually, you know what? Let me rename this layer. I want to call it upper torso. There. Now let's add the joints from the shoulders and lower torso. I show the sketch for that and open the upper torso layer and hide the torso group. That way I can clearly see the circle joints. You see? Make sure you have the upper torso layer selected, okay? And now I can create circles for the joints. All I need to do is to create red circles on each of them. I need to reallocate them in a perfect position, toggling the visibility of the torso. For example, the shoulder had to be moved a bit. You see? Now, there is a bit of a problem. See the big circle in the middle? It's interfering with the neck of the sweater, you see? So I need to crop it. Just select that circle by alt-clicking on it in the Layers panel. Yep, that's the one. Then just select the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle that will crop it. And now alt-shift-click on the circle of the Layers panel to have both shapes selected. And now, with both groups selected, I press Ctrl 7. There. You can also do the same by having two shapes selected, then going to the Object menu, Clipping Mask, Make. And now the head and the upper torso are ready. Time to work on the lower torso. We'll do that in the next lesson. See you there. Creating the lower torso. Hi, this is Mark Diaz for 2danimation101.com, and now that we have the head and the upper torso, let's get right into creating the lower torso. I first need to show the sketch, then hide and lock the upper torso, and also I will lock the head. I like to have every layer locked except for the one I'm working on. Now, let's create a new layer. I'll call it lower torso, and color blue is right. And let's drag that layer below the upper torso. I press N to pick the pencil tool, no fill, black stroke, and 2 points. I will start drawing. This one is super easy. All I need is to draw this shape. Simple. Now I go to the top toolbar and select Variable Width, then Object menu, Expand Appearance, Object menu, Path, Simplify, and select 97%. Ctrl-Alt-X to make live paint and expand. Fast forward to get rid of the overshoot lines, and now is cleaned. Oh, I forgot to change the color. Lucky me, there are only few this time. Select all and pick the dark red. Now make it live paint again. To paint it red with the paint bucket tool. Let's show the upper body and make some corrections. It looks fairly decent except for this part on the left. Let me unlock the upper torso and make those corrections. I'll click on the clip group. Yes. Yeah, that's the one. And make it a bit smaller. And the lower torso is looking funny, so I will stretch it also. There. Now it looks dandy. Now we need to add the joints to the lower torso. I will duplicate the circle of the upper torso and drag it to the lower torso layer. But I want to make the clipping mask a bit larger. Let me expand the click group and Alt click on the rectangle and stretch it up. There. Let me hide the upper torso. Okay, so the upper torso will be able to rotate all the way to here and here. That's perfect. We don't need a super flexible character, just flexible enough. Now, the lower circle. I will hide the lower torso group and the clip group and create a circle above the lower torso group. Make sure it's red. I try to draw them from the center by holding Alt and Shift to create a perfect circle from the center. About the same size, and then put it in place. Now let's reveal the other parts of the lower torso layer and maybe adjust the lower circle just a little bit to have it in place. And actually put it below the lower torso group. There. Let me change the color of that line to red so it disappears. So you can just use the paint bucket tool. I press K to select it. There and there. The lower torso is ready. Let's lock everything because we have some progress and we don't want to mess with it. And hide the sketch. Hey, great. Now it's time to make the hips. We will do that in the next lesson. See you there. So we have the upper body except for the arms. Let's create the hips or pelvis, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it hips. I start by hiding the lower torso and showing the sketch. Then create a new layer above the lower torso and called hips. I make sure everything is locked and have the hips layer selected. Now with a pencil, pressing N, I have it with no fill, black stroke, and 2 points for the width. I just draw a kind of trousers shape, like the Superman trousers, respecting the circles for the joints, like that. Now let's change the color of the outlines. Just make sure you have the stroke selected in the color swatches panel, and change the colors. I also like to have the proper path arrangement. You can move it to the front or to the back by pressing Ctrl with open or closing brackets. Or you can go to the Object menu, Arrange, and bring forward or backward. Okay, there. Now, time to clean it up. Select All, make it variable width. Then Object menu, expand appearance. Object menu, path, simplify, 97%. Then Ctrl-Alt-X to make live paint and expand. Time to do some cleaning with the white arrow tool. And there. Now let me change the color for the part of the pants. Select the fill in the swatches panel and pick the dark blue for the jeans. There. Time to color it with the bucket tool. Ctrl-Alt-X to make it live paint and paint it. There you go. You know what? I'm going to change the color for the lower part of the belt to the jeans color. Expand it first into paths. I might need to do a lot of zoom in to select everything very precisely. And yep, I like it better. Let's show the lower torso. And hey, it's looking good. Just a little bump on the right side. I'll fix it a bit with the black arrow tool to squeeze it a bit. And maybe some other adjustments. And there. Now we have our character's upper body and pelvis. Oh wait, I almost forgot. We still have to add the circles for the joints. Always remember the joints are important. I will show the sketch and hide the lower torso. And as you can see, the left side of the pelvis is not working really well. I have to adjust the left leg a bit. No problem. But I just have to have that in mind, okay? And the right side looks fairly well. Okay, let's create the circles. The one connecting with the lower torso will be a duplicate. Unlock and show the lower torso. Expand and select with Alt-click the circle joining with the pelvis. Is it that one? Yep, that's the one. Now duplicate by dragging it to the new layer icon. And drag that duplicate to the hips layer. Now let's send it to the back by pressing Ctrl-Shift, open bracket. You can also go to the Object menu, Arrange, Send to Back. Now the two circles for the joints of the legs using the jeans color. Let me lock the lower torso and collapse it. And also hide it. Also hide the hips, not the layer. Only the group and the circle. I want to see the circles of the sketch. That's what I want. There. I want the circle to have the color of the jeans and be big enough to fit the leg. Let's see if it fits. Oh, it doesn't fit perfectly, but it's okay. I can just make the legs a bit thinner. No problem. Duplicate that from the Layers panel and put them in position. Almost in position. Now show the group and put these below the group. Now let's move them around a bit to be in the perfect place. Okay, looking good. Now, you know what? I'm going to squeeze the pelvis a bit with the black arrow so the joints fit perfectly. And I might need to make another adjustment. The goal is to have the joints tight inside the hips. They are going to be the connection between the hips and the legs. So there we go. And now all that is left is to change the color of the groins using the white arrow tool. There. Now let's show everything, starting with the red circle. Whoops. Looks like the hips are a bit smaller than the joint connecting with the lower torso. So let me pause the video a bit and make the hips stretch to the corrected size. Okay, that's fairly good. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we do need the joints well connected. The hips with the lower torso with the upper torso, and so on. So good. Now let me show the upper torso and hide the sketch. Whoops, as you can see, I still need to work with this a bit. Let me pause the video to make all the little adjustments to fix the circle joints of the hips and put them in position. I will pause the video so I won't bore you to death. And there, finally, I think this is better. It took me about 3 minutes. Okay, this happens all the time. That's why I recommend checking your progress at every step, so you have all the joints in place as best as you can. This way, it will be easier when you rig the character for animation, okay? That's it for this lesson. Now we have to just attach the arms and legs, and we got ourselves a character with no face. Let's start working with the arms in the next lesson. See you there! Okay, let's get right into creating the arms. I will start by locking the hips and creating a new layer above the hips called left arm and blue. I will hide the upper torso and show the sketch layer. And picking the pencil by pressing letter N. I will set it up with no fill, dark red for the stroke, and 2 points for the width. I will draw only the upper left arm. I try to have the arm from one half of a circle joint to the other. There. Now, time for cleaning. The color is already red. Now, Ctrl A to select all, pick variable width, then object, expand appearance, object, path, simplify at 97%. I press Ctrl Alt X to make live paint and expand. Then with the white arrow tool, I clean it quickly. Not too many lines here. Then select all with Ctrl A, make live paint again with Ctrl Alt X, and paint it with the red color from the swatches panel. Now, Ctrl A to select all and expand. And let's get rid of the upper and lower lines, changing them into red. I just select the line with the white arrow tool and then press I to pick the eyedropper tool, or you can pick it from the toolbar, and just click on the red from the fill of this object, and that changes the color of the line. And I'll do the same for the bottom line. There. Now the circle joints. Expand the left arm, hide the group, and create red circles. For the shoulder, remember, it's important to have the exact same shoulder used in the upper torso. So I will duplicate the one from that layer. Okay? Unlock, expand, and show the upper torso, and find the left shoulder by alt-clicking on the paths. Yes, that's the one. Duplicate and drag to the left arm layer. Now collapse, lock and hide the upper torso. Then Alt and click and drag the circle on the workspace to duplicate. Now scale it down. I hold Ctrl to temporarily select the black arrow tool and scale it down. Maybe reposition and have it in place. Nice. Let's show the arm to see if everything fits perfectly. Make your little adjustments there to have it nice and good. But let me note something very important. Whatever adjustments you make, don't mess with the circle joint connecting the shoulder. That circle should be the same size and exactly in the same position as the red circle on the upper torso, okay? So just make sure you don't move or make any adjustments to the circle of the shoulder. Just make the adjustments in the arm. I will just select the whole arm and move it a bit to the left. Yeah. And now I'll put both circles behind the arm group. There. Now it's ready. That's the arm. Let's create the left forearm. I will collapse, lock, and hide the left arm. Select the hips layer and create a new layer above it. Left forearm. And also color blue. Yeah, you can pick any color you want. Now draw the forearm really quick. I press N to pick the pencil tool. Set it up with no fill, black stroke, and 2 points. Try to start from the half of the circle joint to the other half. Now press Ctrl A to select all, change width profile to variable, and change the colors. The top part will be red, and only the bottom line will be the dark skin. If you notice, this area is supposed to be also with skin color, but I will change the color of that one after I expand it. Okay, you know the drill. Ctrl A to select all, object menu, expand appearance. Object menu, path, simplify, at 97%. Ctrl Alt X to make live paint and expand. Now I can change those red lines to skin color. Click on each one with the white arrow tool, and with both selected, I press letter I to pick the eyedropper tool and click on the dark skin colored line at the bottom. Now I press A to pick the white arrow tool and clean the outline. There. Ctrl A to select all, Ctrl Alt X to make live, and paint with the paint bucket tool. I use the shortcut letter K. There. There is the forearm with no joints. Now for the upper circle joint, I will duplicate the one from the left arm. Show, unlock, and expand the left arm. Then Alt-click to find the lower circle. There. Duplicate by dragging the object to the new layer icon, and then drag the duplicate to the forearm layer. And now, Alt-click the forearm group and reposition to where you think it fits perfectly. You can move it with precision using the arrow keys. I think there looks good. Let me hide the left arm to see if it looks good. Yeah, I like it. Let me drag the circle below the forearm and correct that line. I select that line with the white arrow tool, then I press letter I to pick the eyedropper tool and click on the red below. There. Now the other joint connecting to the hand. I will hide both objects inside that layer so I can see the sketch. And create a perfect circle with skin color for the fill and no stroke. Stroke. Show the forearm group. And now let's put it in place. I think there. Maybe make some adjustments with the position and there. We put the circle below. I press A to pick the white arrow tool and select the line below. Then I press the letter I to pick the eyedropper tool and click on the skin color. There. Let me show what we got so far. For the right hand, because I decided to make this character symmetrical, I will just duplicate the left arm and forearm to make the right side. I select both parts of the arm holding Shift, then drag to new layer icon to duplicate. Rename them as right arm and right forearm. Then Alt-click and Shift-Alt-click to select both layer contents. And now the tricky part. Drag by holding Shift to constrain the X-axis movement. And once they are in position, we need to flip them. Try to connect the circle of the shoulder with the circle of the upper torso like that. Now go to Object Menu, Transform, Reflect, and leave the option as vertical. You see there is horizontal flip and vertical flip, so leave it as vertical and press OK. And now we just have to put it into position. I like to zoom in a bit to be as exact as I can. I think that's about right. Nice. Now we have the upper body of a character with no face and no hands, but this is progress. We will create the legs in the next lesson. See you there. Creating the legs. Let's start by locking what we have so far, so we won't mess with it. Let's reveal the sketch and hide everything else, so I can peacefully draw the legs. Actually, only one leg and the other will be a mirror of it. Okay, let's start by drawing the left thigh. I will create a new layer above the hips. Name it left thigh and make it blue. Set the pencil with no fill, black stroke, and 2 for the width. Oh wait, before I start drawing, I do want to have the leg joints showing. I will temporarily unlock the hips, hide every part of this layer except for the joint circles for the legs, and lock it again. Now, let's draw. Because I want this to look straight, I will draw the whole leg, and later split it into 2 layers. Now, change the color to the dark grayish blue. I press X to select the stroke and pick the color. Now, the cleaning, you know the drill. Ctrl A to select all, select the variable width, then Object menu, expand appearance. Object menu, path, simplify at 97%. Ctrl Alt X to make live paint, expand, and now with the white arrow tool, clean the overshot lines. Make live paint with Ctrl Alt X again and paint it. And finally, select all and expand again. So now we can change the line color with the white arrow tool. There. Now, what we need is for this leg to be split into thigh and calf. I will make it a bit transparent to see the joint circle. Select all and pull the transparency down in the transparency panel to 20%. How about that? Yeah, there. Now I see the joint. Just select all with Ctrl A, and with the knife tool under the razor, I cut it in the middle. Okay, let's bring the opacity back to 100%. Now, I need to select the calf part of the leg. For that, I really need to zoom in to select the 4 parts with the white arrow tool. You want to zoom in because you need to click on the center of the shape, not the outline of the shape. Look, if you try to select the middle part, zoomed out, and then try to select the calf and the left outline, I don't actually select the outline, I select a point. You see? I don't want that. I want to select the outline perfectly. For that, I need to zoom in really close and click on the center of the outline. And zooming in and out and holding Shift to add objects to my selection will let me pick all the calf along with the outline. I can now move it around perfectly, you see? Perfect. Now let's make this a group. Let me expand this layer. And look, I press Ctrl G. And there. You can also go to Object menu and select Group. You see? Now, create another layer called Left Calf and drag that group into this new layer. So we will have the calf, we split it inside this new layer, the left calf layer. Nice. Now we have the leg separated into 2 layers, left thigh and left calf. Make sure the left calf is perfectly in position like this. There. Let me confirm that everything is under control. I collapse the left thigh and hide the calf. Yep, 1 layer. And then I hide that one and show the calf. Yes, they are in different layers. Now, because they are in 2 different layers, I can pick them freely with my black arrow tool. Wait, okay, this is odd. We might have made a mistake here. Let me hide the calf. Okay, so this sometimes can happen. There are 2 little points. They are vectors that are disconnected. If this also happened to you, just select them with the white arrow tool and delete them. And now, with the black arrow tool, I have the left thigh. Yeah, there. Now I have the calf and the thigh on separate layers. And any of them can be selected easily with the black arrow tool. Let me undo to have them in position again. And now, let's work out the joints. Unlock the hips and Alt-click until I find the correct circle. There, that's the one. Duplicate. And drag to the left thigh. I want it below the leg group. Let me lock and hide the calf. And now create the joint for the knee. Hide the thigh group and create a circle. Press letter L to pick the circle tool and make sure the fill is blue. I create it by holding Alt and Shift. There. Let's show the thigh group and put it in place. We might need to change the size. Just make sure you hold Shift to maintain the aspect as a perfect circle. Now put that path below everything. That's the thigh. Now, the calf. This one is easy. Just unlock and show the calf layer and expand it. Then Alt-click to find the circle. Is it this one? There. Duplicate it by dragging that into the new item icon and drag it below the group inside the calf layer. That's all there is to the calf. We won't add joint for the foot. One last thing is to just duplicate these two layers and flip them to make the left leg. Click on one, then hold Shift and click on the next and drag those layers into the new layer icon and rename them. Just change the L into R to make it right side. Alt-click on the right calf, then Shift-Alt-click on the right thigh and move them with the black arrow, holding Shift to constrain the movement. Then go to Object, Transform, Reflect. Have it vertical and press OK. And there it is. Wait, looks like I didn't move the right joint of the hip holding Shift when I moved it. Okay, these two circles should be an exact match. Let me correct that on the hips layer. There. Let me just make sure it's perfectly aligned. Moving it and holding Shift. Yep, they are. Now let's show everything on the Layers panel. Whoops, I need to show a hidden group in the Layers panel. Yeah, there we go. Look, there is a little error right there. Let's fix it by just having the layers in the proper order. The legs should be below the pelvis, so I will drag the hips layer above the legs. And there we have it. Now, an important note. Please notice that one of the principles of animation is solid drawing, which states that you should avoid mirroring, and that principle would be applied in animation, not in the rigging stage, okay? So later we will be able to change the feet and not have this character in a symmetrical pose. Okay, with that out of the way, let's move to the next lesson, in which we will explain a bit about how to prepare drawings for replacement animation. See you there!